Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today, let's talk The Walking Dead Season 6 Finale, First Impression Review. Let's move right into the season finale because I enjoyed it. I really did. I liked it a lot. I love the roadblocks throughout the episode, and it was up until the point where the screen went black that I didn't enjoy it. First thing, the opener. I love this. This guy, at first I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And I remember when we were making predictions, I'm like, I don't recognize this guy at all. And that's because we don't know this guy. We've never seen him before. Now, for those who are still lost, this guy belonged to a small community that lived at the library. Remember that because we'll see the library again. So he lived at the library and they were bucking back or fighting back against the saviors. Maybe they didn't want to do what they were asked, so the saviors killed all the people at the library, and they told that guy, we're going to make an example out of you. Now this intertwines in the story, and this is part of the reason why I disagree a lot about people saying that it's lazy writing on The Walking Dead. I know we're mad about the cliffhanger, but that doesn't mean leading up to that was lazy writing. This writing was damn good. The guy who plays Trevor in Grand Theft Auto, he plays this one lead savior here, and he tells this guy that you guys fired the first shot, and he said that they strung up the guy who fired the first shot and they killed everyone else, and they're going to make him as an example. Now they give this exposition so we know, okay, the guy's from the library, they strung up the guy who fired the first shot at the saviors. And then we see Carol and Morgan go to the library, which I think is awesome because Morgan will eventually climb that tower and cut that guy down. He stabs the walker in the head. If you notice, there's chains on his feet. So Morgan and Carol are at the library. That guy in the woods that they hang him from the bridge, that guy is the last surviving member of that community at the library. And I love how Carol and Morgan's story intertwined. And even there's a little Easter egg, in my opinion, on the wall. You'll see a castle. I think that's an Easter egg for the kingdom. If you're new here, we do an afterthoughts video that goes in depth. We'll talk about that more in the afterthoughts video. But then we have Carol. She's fleeing. I don't know why Morgan didn't see that coming, but anyway, he tracks her down and we find a rosary. That's important. I'm going to come back to this in a minute, but Morgan eventually shows up on the scene when that dude shoots Carol in the arm and then in the leg, and that was vicious. I really enjoyed that scene. Now Carol is getting to kind of her suicide point, so to speak, much like her character, which this is something we discussed, that this breakdown of Carol's, in my opinion right now, it is kind of like a breakdown. She's having a breakdown. But Morgan shows up on the scene, and this is something we discussed where lots of fans did not like Morgan, and I said, you know what, I honestly feel if Morgan was facing a situation where he needed to kill, he would definitely do it, because he's not letting somebody die, and he did it. Not only did he do the damn thing, but damn did he put in work. He shot the dude right in the chest by the shoulder, then he shot him in the neck, he capped him in the head once. So Morgan really stepped up in this episode, and I loved it. I think that was the redemption right there, and I think the way they did it was perfect. And then also intertwining that with the kingdom. For those of you who do not know what the kingdom is, it's a complete new community. I want to make that clear. Anyway, these two characters in the armor are from this new community, and now we have Morgan and Carol going off into this new community. Loved how that entire story played out. I got a list of things I already want to discuss in the afterthoughts video, but one thing I'll throw in here real quick is the list Eugene gives up. He's like, listen, I wrote everything I know about making ammunition. Abraham knows where the building is. Here it is, Rick. And at that moment, I'm like, oh shit, this is the Deanna thing all over again. Do not kill Eugene. Just don't kill him, because that is too much. It's just too in our face. It's like, okay, we have this character in the comic who, right now he's really only good for making the ammo, story-wise. So he's going to write everything he knows down on a piece of paper. He's going to give that up, and then we don't need him anymore. We could kill him. Don't do it. I'm hoping that's just something where it's like to throw us off. And then he gives Abraham a big hug, and I'm really hoping that's just a Eugene moment where it shows Eugene isn't being selfish. He's like, listen, if I die, I might die. Here, you guys need to thrive. And I'm hoping that's what they do, where it's more about his character and how, he's thinking beyond him. And he's like, if I die here, this will keep you guys safe. This will help you guys make bullets. I don't want to see that be the end of Eugene, especially not after it's too similar to the Deanna. Hey, I made this map of what Alexandria should look like. I'm dead. Eugene, here's everything I need to know about making ammo. I'm dead. Alright, so forget about all that. Let's just go right to the roadblocks. The first roadblock. This is where it connects to Morgan and Carol, and I love this, and I did not catch it the first time. And what I'm talking about is Rick and them are in the RV, and they come up on the Saviors, and they come out and they have that discussion with them. Well, the one Savior, at first I thought he was having an asthma attack. He was like, I was like, what is he doing? And then he spray paints the guy. Later we see him throw the guy over the bridge, and he's hanging there with an X on his chest. And I'm like, alright, whatever. Well, when I'm rewatching this, I see something that I noticed with Morgan. When Morgan is hunting Carol now, not hunting, but going after Carol the second time, he sees a person that's not a walker. It has to be a person because there's blood everywhere. A walker isn't going to bleed out like that. The person's face down. Blood's everywhere. The rosary's near the blood, and that's what catches Morgan's eye, because that was Carol's rosary. Well, if you notice, there's an X on the ground there. And that's the same thing that the Saviors did with Rick on the road with that one guy. And if you think about it, okay, there's an X on the ground. Those guys lined up and they made an X. Something about X marks the spot. Maybe you're dying on that spot. Maybe that's like the warning sign. Maybe that's where they tell them to kneel down. We might see that X again. But then I'm thinking, wait a minute. There's a lot of blood around that head. This guy has his head bashed in. Holy shit. Negan must have took one of their group at the library, lined them up, bashed their head in. They fought back. I don't know if it was days later or what, but they had a problem with it. They fought back. The Saviors hung the guy who fired the first shot, killed everyone else, took that guy, brought him in front of Rick to make an example out of him. How awesome is that? And you say there's lazy writing? Thought that's absolutely awesome. Now, I could be looking at these little clues and be totally wrong, but I don't feel it. I feel like that matches up. So that's the first roadblock. The second roadblock, it's where they have a few guys and then they're shooting off guns. The third roadblock is the Walker rope, and I thought that was epic, where they had Michonne's dreads and Daryl's the bolts. Anyway, love that touch, and I love that realization that it's like, holy shit, they have our people. They break out of that, and next they hit the holy shit, because there's a ton of them now. This is the fourth roadblock. After this, they hit the logs covering the road, and there's all those tracks there. So now they know they have numbers, they have guns, they have people, not only in that one area with numbers, they're in multiple areas. They block this off. They have, with the tracks, Eugene makes the comment that they got vehicles, they got equipment, big toys he calls them. So this is 5 roadblocks that are epic. Each one's different, each one's awesome, and each one is more dangerous than the next. The one with the wood doesn't look that dangerous, but if you think about what it took to build that, yeah, that's pretty dangerous. So then they hang that guy, that X that we just talked about, epic. The 6th one is where Eugene goes off. Now, I don't think he snitched on him, because if you look at how they worked this and how they have everything set up, they must have had people scattered in this area that could somehow communicate to others. We've seen them in walkie-talkies from the Paula and her group, the group they killed in her sleep. They had walkie-talkies, so most likely the roads are only so long. If you have people positioned at the end of each road, listen, they're down road G. All right, there's nowhere else to go. We got our guys at the end. They're going to turn around. All right, they're at road H. So they could have done something like that. So I don't believe Eugene snitched. But then they finally start going on foot carrying Maggie. There's a lot of build-up in this episode where they set up Aaron to make it look like he might die, Abraham to make it look like he might die, Sasha. Between the Abraham and Sasha stuff, they set up, even Father Gabriel has a setup, and he's not even in it after that. They literally set up everyone, Glenn and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, with Daryl and Michonne, and everyone has a setup, so they did a damn good job at setting that up. But when they're walking through the woods and you can hear that whistle, and they get out into the open and the whistle just gets louder and it lights them up and you can see all the Saviors there, I thought that was one of the coolest scenes, and it was just the beginning of some of the most tension-filled moments in The Walking Dead, and this is part of why the cliffhanger is so damn disappointing, because that momentum I keep talking about, shit, I know you guys are probably getting sick of me talking about it, but from that whistle on, they built up so much tension. The momentum was damn near perfect. It was about to be an episode that would go down in TV entertainment history. And yeah, I know I criticized Negan having the beard. I still don't like it. And I know he tells Abraham, I gotta shave this, which infuriated me even more, because if he's just going to shave, why the fuck didn't he just shave before he filmed? These are little things that take me out of the moment, because all I'm going to be thinking is, oh, here's an actor who had a prior gig that he couldn't shave for, but he needed to film on The Walking Dead too, so he'll shave later and they'll just pretend like he hasn't shaved in a while. That's what I'll see when I watch this. They had a really awesome moment, though, with Maggie when Negan's like, you look like shit, I might as well put you out of your misery. Glenn pipes up, he starts freaking out, and I love this because Glenn is the one who dies in the comic. But Glenn freaks out, and there's that moment where Negan's like, no, not you, get your ass back in line. And that was kind of, in my opinion, it was like a little nod to the comic fans. Like, nope, not you. It still could be, but for right now, it was like, not you, not yet. And I like how Glenn still said, don't. He didn't say please don't, but he still said it. And that's the lines he says in the comic before he dies. And that was just when he was getting pushed back in line. He's just like, don't. And Negan was laughing. He's like, listen, I get it. This is an emotional moment. I get it. But no one do that shit again. And then we get to the cliffhanger. One thing I do want to say real quick here. I see a lot of people saying Carl's going to get it. Keep in mind, Negan has everyone lined up. And right before he does the kill, he says, if anyone moves, cut out the kid's eye. He points to Carl and feed it to his father. So Carl and Rick are safe. They are good, because that line doesn't make sense continuity-wise if he picked Carl to beat to death. See what I'm saying? Because he said, cut out his eye, feed it to his father. It just wouldn't make sense. As far as Negan, thoughts on him, Jeffrey Dean Morgan did a really good job. I still stand by what I said, though, in my little mini discussion video right after I saw the episode. He didn't seem as energetic as I thought Negan would be. I thought Negan would be more, energetic, loud, flamboyant, out there, just over the top. But maybe they wanted him to not play it so over the top, because that was some complaints that, oh, Negan's a character who's over the top, he's going to make the show silly and yada yada yada. TV Negan took a minute to get used to. On my second viewing watching him, he was a lot more threatening the second time than he was the first time. Because the first time, he felt like a sedated Negan. I just couldn't get that out of my head. I'm like, wow, this is a really just chill Negan. But he did a damn good job. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, he did a really good job. And I think maybe that is it. I also think that Jeffrey Dean Morgan could have possibly played this character with a little more focus on being cool than maybe he should have. Negan in the comics, yeah, he thinks he's one cool motherfucker, but he's always making jokes to an audience of one. He's making jokes in front of everyone to an audience of one, which is himself. He's always making jokes that make himself chuckle. Like, that's kind of who he is, even if his saviors aren't all laughing. So being cool, it seems like he doesn't care about it. But he does. And that's why the beard thing I don't get, because he's got the slick back hair, clean shaven. Like, this dude is cool. Got his leather jacket on. He's got his Lucille bat with barbed wire, which I'm shocked they didn't have more of Lucille in it as far as him praising the bat. Maybe they'll do that in season 7 when they pick up here. But what I'm saying is there's just a touch that was off, my expectation wise. As far as whether or not I'm worried about Negan and what's going forward, I'm fine with that. I think we will see a lot more depth. And yes, there was no cursing. Most likely that just got pushed off to the Blu-ray only. Yes, they did have that article they ran from the official Walking Dead that said there would be cursing, but there's not. But I am still looking forward to season 7, although I do have my worries. With that said, I do have a lot more I do want to discuss, even though this video is ridiculously longer than it was supposed to be. You can't fit everything in a quick 3-4 minute video. You just can't. Not everything we want to discuss. We're going to be making videos throughout the whole break, so we got a lot more coming. So subscribe. Thoughts and opinions in the comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn. Subscribe now.